Have you ever felt like your entire day was ruined by a careless comment, a thoughtless action, or simply because life didn't go the way you expected? Anger, frustration, and emotional overwhelm can feel unavoidable in today's fast-paced world. But what if you could learn to stop letting others or external events take control of your mood? In this video, we dive into powerful, practical, and deeply insightful lessons that will help you stay calm, grounded, and emotionally steady, no matter what situation you're in. These lessons blend the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy with modern emotional strategies, giving you a fresh perspective on mastering your emotions and consciously choosing your reactions. 1. Your reaction is your choice. In life, we've all experienced moments when a thoughtless comment, an inconsiderate action, or an uncomfortable situation triggered a wave of negative emotions. But here's the truth. No one can make you angry, hurt, or upset unless you allow it. Emotions are natural responses, and it's completely normal to feel annoyed, frustrated, or disappointed. However, what truly matters is not what you feel, but how you choose to respond to those feelings. You can choose to lash out, blame others, or you can choose to pause, reflect, and respond with intention. Every moment is an opportunity to act based on your core values rather than react impulsively. Imagine wearing noise-canceling headphones in the middle of a noisy city. The chaos still exists around you, but it no longer affects your inner peace. Learning to manage your reactions is just like that. Others may act poorly, but you can still remain calm and centered. When you feel emotionally triggered, take a moment to pause. Breathe deeply. Acknowledge the emotion you're experiencing, anger, sadness, disappointment. Then ask yourself, is this feeling caused by their action or by the meaning I've assigned to it? That awareness allows you to respond in a way that brings peace instead of turmoil. Choosing your reaction is choosing your way of life. And when you master that choice, you don't just preserve your inner peace, you discover a deeper, unshakable strength from within. 2. Stop expecting others to behave like you. We often feel disappointed, frustrated, or even hurt when someone doesn't act the way we expect them to. Maybe it's the friend you have always supported who disappears when you need help, or a colleague who constantly interrupts while you're speaking. In your mind, the question rings out, how could they act like that? If it were me, I'd never do that. But it's this very expectation that becomes the root of our inner unrest. The truth is, everyone has their own set of values, life experiences, and priorities. They are not you, and they are under no obligation to behave according to your standards. Expecting others to think, act, or respond like you is like wishing for endless sunshine. Beautiful in theory, but unrealistic. When those expectations go unmet, what you get in return is disappointment, emotional pain, and a loss of peace. Rather than trying to change others or wishing they would do the right thing, practice accepting them for who they are. Acceptance doesn't mean condoning negative behavior or pretending to be okay with everything. It simply means you choose not to let their actions disrupt your emotional balance and energy. For example, if a coworker repeatedly interrupts you, instead of waiting for them to change or getting angry, you could calmly but firmly set a boundary, or recognize that this habit is theirs and does not define your worth or presence. The fewer expectations you hold, the more peace you gain. When you shift your focus from trying to control others to managing your own reactions, you'll feel lighter, more in control, and truly free. Remember this, others are who they are, not the version you want them to be. Accepting that is the first step in protecting the peace of your mind and heart. 3. Let go of the need to always be right. Find more peace and freedom. In every argument, there's a familiar moment. That urge to prove you're right. Whether the topic is big or small, from the fastest route to a destination to deeply held life views, you may suddenly find yourself caught in a verbal tug of war, where the goal is no longer mutual understanding, but simply to win. But have you ever asked yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be at peace? The desire to always be right might give you a fleeting sense of power, but over time it drains you, your energy, your connections, and even your most meaningful relationships. Constantly needing to be right not only pushes people away, but also traps you in a cycle of tension and pressure. Letting go of the need to always be right doesn't mean abandoning your principles or admitting you were wrong. It means choosing between reacting to protect your ego and responding in a way that nurtures understanding and inner peace. Imagine this scenario. Your friend insists their way of handling a situation is better, and you disagree. Instead of diving into a full-blown argument, you could simply say, "I understand where you're coming from, and I respect that." That one gentle sentence can dissolve the tension, preserve the relationship, and leave you feeling much lighter. Lao Tzu once said, "He who clings to his views will never learn." When you take a step back, you give yourself space to learn, to see from another's perspective, and to stay centered within yourself. Here are a few simple ways to practice this mindset. 1. Pause before reacting. When you feel the urge to argue, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this really important? 2. Seek to understand, not to rebut. Instead of poking holes in someone else's opinion, try asking, can you share more about that point of view? 3. Choose your battles wisely. Not every disagreement needs to be resolved. Focus on what truly matters to your values and your life. When you stop being driven by the need to win, you discover a deeper truth. Peace doesn't come from being right. It comes from staying grounded in who you are, even in the face of disagreement. Or, don't let other people's words define you. You are the only one who truly knows your worth. Have you ever felt hurt by an offhand comment? Maybe someone criticized your idea, mocked your appearance, or made a negative remark about how you live your life. Even if the words were fleeting, they can echo in your mind all day, making you question yourself, feel not good enough, or undeserving. But the truth is, your worth does not come from praise or criticism. It comes from within, from your efforts, your character, and your commitment to living in alignment with your values. Too often, we give far too much weight to other people's words and forget that their opinions are just that. Their perspective, not the truth about us. Maybe they spoke out of anger, jealousy, or simply because they don't understand you. When you let their words define you, you're essentially handing over the control of your emotions and self-worth to someone else. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "We love ourselves more than anyone else, yet we care more about their opinions than our own." So instead of reacting immediately when someone judges you, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, is this constructive feedback that could help me grow? Or is it unnecessary negativity I don't need to carry? Constructive feedback deserves reflection. Baseless attacks, you have every right to let them go without absorbing them. Start making a habit of validating yourself. Each day, remind yourself of what you've accomplished, the efforts you've made, and the person you're becoming. Write down things you're proud of, even the small wins. A kind gesture you made, a challenge you overcame, or simply the way you treated yourself with compassion. Most importantly, remember this: someone else's opinion doesn't change the truth about who you are. You don't need anyone's permission to feel worthy. You've always been enough. You just need the courage to believe it. 5. Setting boundaries, the deepest act of self-love. You don't have to say yes to everyone to be liked, and you certainly don't have to sacrifice your energy, time, or emotions just to keep others happy. Learning to say no isn't selfish. It's a powerful form of self-respect and healthy self-love. In today's fast-paced world, emotional exhaustion has become a common state. We're constantly available, always saying yes to favors, taking on more than we can handle just to avoid disappointing others. But you can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't set boundaries, people, intentionally or not, will overstep and invade your personal space, draining your mental well-being and self-worth in the process. So what exactly are boundaries? Boundaries are clear, personal limits you define to protect your time, energy, emotional space, and core values. They might look like turning down toxic conversations, not answering work messages after hours, or simply saying you need some time alone when feeling overwhelmed. How can you set effective boundaries? Communicate kindly but firmly. You might say something like, "I care about you, but I really need time for myself today." Be clear and consistent. People can't respect your boundaries if they don't understand them. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about creating distance. It's about building healthier connections where you don't have to sacrifice yourself just to maintain the relationship. You have the right to protect your living space, your emotions, and your energy. You are not obligated to attend every gathering, fix everyone's problems, or respond immediately every time someone needs you. When you learn how to say no in a respectful and intentional way, you are really saying yes to your mental health, inner peace, and personal values. And finally, always remember this. Preserving your energy isn't selfish. It's one of the most compassionate things you can do to take care of yourself. 6. Detach from the need for others' approval. The path back to your true self. In life, you will always be under someone's gaze, sometimes admiration, sometimes criticism, and often misunderstanding. But remember this, people see you through the lens of their own experiences, values, and limitations. So whether it's praise or blame, approval or judgment, none of it reflects the absolute truth about who you are. Your true worth does not come from others' validation. It comes from the strength you've built, the principles you uphold, and the way you live in alignment with your own truth. Be brave enough to be misunderstood if it helps you grow. If you truly want to grow, accept this reality. There will always be people who think you're wrong, foolish, or even judge you simply because you're different. But that's the price of becoming who you're meant to be. Many of those who went on to create something meaningful were once seen as unrealistic, reckless, or too different. But they didn't let those labels define them. They chose to walk their own path, even when it hadn't been walked before. They knew that real growth often requires giving up the comfort of approval in exchange for staying true to what their heart believes in. Detaching from others' opinions starts with awareness. The next time someone criticizes or judges you, take a pause and ask yourself, why am I affected by this comment? Maybe you're unconsciously seeking validation. Maybe you're allowing someone else's view to define your self-worth. When you feel shaken, return to your core values. What are you living for? What are your goals? What principles guide your decisions? Come home to yourself because that is where your peace lies. Let it go like a leaf on a flowing stream. Visualize criticism like a leaf drifting on water. You notice it, acknowledge it, but you don't need to hold on to it. Let it float away. Don't let someone else's passing opinion weigh on your mind for hours or days. True freedom doesn't come from being liked by everyone. It comes from knowing that you're okay, even when no one understands you. And sometimes being misunderstood is the very step you need to take to grow into a stronger version of yourself. Live as your true self without needing permission. You don't need everyone's agreement to live in alignment with who you are. Real confidence doesn't come from applause. It comes from the inner trust that the path you're on is true to your values. Starting today, choose to stop seeking constant agreement. Listen, but don't rely on others to define you. Hold on to your inner truth, no matter how loud the world outside becomes. You weren't born to fit into every mold. You were born to live authentically and freely within your own skin, your own values, and your own journey. 7. Silence is not weakness. It is the strength of emotional mastery. When someone says something hurtful or tries to provoke you during an argument, your first instinct is often to react. Your heart races, your mind heats up, and your mouth wants to fire back with something sharp. But in that moment, if you choose silence instead of anger, you've already mastered yourself. Silence does not mean defeat. It means you're strong enough not to fuel the fire that's already burning. The more you react, the easier it is to get pulled into a cycle of negativity. But when you choose silence, you create a safe space, one where you can see things clearly, process your emotions, and respond with clarity and dignity. Silence is a shield that protects your inner peace. It helps you stay grounded and prevents others from controlling your emotions. When you don't respond, you're refusing to be a puppet to someone else's negativity. They can keep talking, but your silence is often the loudest, most powerful response of all. Think about it. How many times have you regretted saying something in anger? If you had chosen silence in that moment, you wouldn't have had to apologize or spend time fixing the damage. Of course, silence doesn't mean you suppress your emotions forever. It's a tool to help you respond when it truly matters, with calm, compassion, and at the right time. That's real strength, knowing when to speak and knowing when not to. Next time someone tries to provoke or upset you, pause. Instead of reacting, take a deep breath and choose silence. You'll realize you're not weaker, you're wiser. And in that choice, you're also learning to protect the peace within yourself, the most precious thing that no one else can take away. 8. Gratitude, a simple yet miraculous way to soothe anger. Have you ever been furious and then suddenly remembered something you were grateful for, and your anger just faded away? That's not a coincidence. That's the power of gratitude. Anger and gratitude cannot exist in the same moment. When you genuinely feel grateful, your heart softens. The blame, the hurt, the rage, they begin to lose their grip. In their place, there's lightness, peace. Next time you're angry, whether from a hurtful comment, someone going against your wishes, or just a small annoyance, pause. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and think of 3 things you're grateful for right now. It could be your family who's always there, a friend who truly listened, your health, the morning sun, a warm cup of coffee, or simply the fact that you're still here, still living, still growing, still able to love, to heal, and to become better each day. Gratitude doesn't need grand gestures. The moment you recognize the little things holding you up, you'll realize life is still gentle, even when it makes you angry. Try making gratitude journaling a daily habit. It doesn't need to be long, just a few lines before bed. Today I'm grateful for, and list 3 things that warmed your heart. This small habit will slowly shift how you see life. You'll complain less, get angry less, and become more patient, more gentle with yourself and with others. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotional remedies. It not only helps heal inner wounds, but also strengthens your mindset and nurtures emotional growth. Anger is instinct. Gratitude is a choice. And if you can choose gratitude in the middle of anger, you are choosing peace for yourself. 9. Criticism, the bitter medicine that helps us grow. No one enjoys being criticized. Feedback, especially when it comes unexpectedly or is delivered insensitively, can easily hurt our feelings, bruise our ego, and trigger negative reactions. But if you truly want to grow, learn to see criticism from a different perspective, as an opportunity to improve yourself. Our natural response to being criticized is to defend, justify, or ignore. But instant reactions often come from emotion, and emotions can cloud our judgment and make us miss the valuable lesson hidden in the feedback. Instead of snapping back, pause, breathe. Look at the person giving the criticism. Who are they? Do they truly understand you? Are they coming from a place of care, or are they just venting? Regardless of the answer, there is always one thing you can do. Look for the lesson hidden in their words, even if those words weren't delivered with kindness. No one is perfect, and sometimes the harshest criticism is what reveals our blind spots, those weaknesses that even our loved ones hesitate to mention. It's an honest mirror, offering you a chance to improve, do better, and change what still needs work. Your attitude toward criticism reflects your level of maturity. A wise person isn't someone who never gets criticized, but someone who learns from every piece of criticism, takes what's useful, and lets go of the negativity. So next time someone offers you feedback, whether gently or bluntly, don't react right away. Smile, listen, and silently thank them. Because maybe, just maybe, they've helped you take one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself. 10. Letting go, a gift of freedom for yourself. Anger is like holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone, but in the end, you are the one who gets burned. Negative emotions not only hurt others, but they also eat away at your mind, body, and life energy every single day. Letting go doesn't mean weakness. It's not surrender. It is a courageous act of choosing peace for yourself. When you let go, you are telling yourself, I deserve to feel light. It's not easy to let go, especially when your heart is still heavy, still holding on to resentment, regret, or hoping for an apology or a different ending. But ask yourself this, is holding on to this feeling worth it? Is it worth letting someone's words occupy your thoughts all day? Is it worth letting one past event haunt you for weeks? Is it worth sacrificing your sleep, health, and focus today just to stay angry? Letting go doesn't mean forgiving immediately. Forgiveness is a journey. Letting go is the first step. It's the moment you decide to cut the cord between yourself and the negativity. It's when you choose not to let the anger control you anymore. Here's a simple practice. Write down what's bothering you, then read this aloud. I cannot change the past, but I can choose peace today. Then take a deep breath and let go. You might be surprised to find your heart feeling lighter, your mind clearer, and a sense of freedom gently flowing through every breath. Because sometimes letting go isn't about freeing the other person, it's about showing compassion to yourself. 11. Maturity is when you don't react immediately. In life, everyone gets criticized at some point. Sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's subtle. Some feedback is kind and constructive, while others can feel like personal attacks. Our first instinct is often to react, to defend ourselves, to argue back, or even to retaliate. But did you know that your first reaction is not always the best one? A truly mature person doesn't rush to respond. They stay calm, take a deep breath, and say a simple yet powerful sentence. I'll think about what you said. This isn't a sign of defeat. It's the mark of someone who knows themselves well and doesn't let emotions overpower logic. It shows you're in control of yourself, something not everyone can manage in the heat of the moment. Instead of arguing to prove a point, choose to keep your composure. Stepping back doesn't mean weakness. It means you're creating space to see things more clearly. Later you can reflect. Was there any truth in that criticism? Is this person worth my time and attention? If yes, learn from it. If not, let it go for your own peace of mind. Maturity doesn't mean never getting angry. It means knowing how to respond wisely without letting anger take the wheel. 12. Silence, the unspoken wisdom. There are times when the wisest thing you can do is not to argue, explain, or respond, but simply to remain silent. In emotionally charged confrontations, silence is not avoidance, nor is it weakness. It's your way of choosing not to fuel negativity. You don't add fuel to the fire, and you don't let your emotions be dragged into an unnecessary battle. Silence is a shield that protects you from harsh words, emotional attacks, and pointless drama. Not everything deserves a response. Not everyone who speaks needs to be answered. Sometimes the most profound answer is no answer at all. Speak less to listen more. Stay silent to better observe what's really going on. And in that silence, you give yourself space to reflect. Is this truly worth responding to? Silence helps you stay grounded. It shows others that you're not easily manipulated by emotion and that you choose inner peace over outward conflict. Remember, when words lose their value, silence becomes power. 13. Transforming negative emotions, a lesson in growth. We've all experienced negative emotions, anger, hurt, disappointment. But what sets us apart is not whether we feel those things. It's how we respond to them. The next time you feel attacked or wounded, pause and ask yourself, is my reaction helping me grow or quietly destroying me? A simple question, but a powerful one. It helps you step out of the emotional spiral and see things with a clearer mind. Anger can make you lose control, but when you observe your anger, you begin to master it. See every negative emotion as a signal. It's telling you something inside needs attention and healing. Every criticism, whether gentle or harsh, is a chance to understand yourself better. What exactly is hurting me? Why am I reacting this way? What can I learn from this? When you start seeing emotions as friends instead of enemies, you'll realize that even the most uncomfortable situations carry valuable lessons for growth. Maturity isn't the absence of negative emotions. It's knowing how to transform them into inner strength. Emotional control, the key to inner freedom. There's a simple truth everyone has experienced. Emotions can take us very far, both in good and bad directions. But the important thing isn't what you feel, it's how you respond to what you feel. Mastering emotions doesn't mean suppressing or pretending not to feel. On the contrary, it means being able to notice your emotions, acknowledge them, and choose a calm, conscious way to respond. You have every right to feel angry, disappointed, but you also have the power to not let those emotions control your actions. When you lose control, emotions take over. When you stay calm, you truly take the reins of your life. Many people confuse calmness with indifference or coldness. But in truth, calmness is a skill, a conscious choice. Like a muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it gets. Each time you stay calm in an irritating situation, you're training for freedom. Because you're no longer dragged around by fleeting emotions, but anchored in your awareness. True freedom isn't about controlling your circumstances. Freedom is when you can control yourself, no matter the circumstances.